Well, let's soak this in from December 7th. It's a promo from Worldwide. The Andersons are back together. Let's take a listen.
Champions, Ole and Arn Anderson.
You know, I've listened to an awful lot of people talk about things. It reminded me of the difference between fantasy and reality. Fantasy is people thinking they're going to win $20,000 in that bunkhouse stampede. Reality is when the Andersons win it. Fantasy is thinking that you're going to take these tag team belts. Reality is that the Andersons are going to always hang on to these tag team belts. Fantasy is when you're Dusty Rhodes thinking that you're the world's heavyweight champion. The reality is when you've got a broken leg and a bunch of pictures to prove it. Dusty Rhodes, you don't ever learn. You don't ever smarten up. You always just think that you're there. You're at the top. When in reality, you're a man walking around with a busted leg and you got a lot of people mad at you, and you better watch it because we're going to make sure that we bust the other one and finally get rid of Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, Wahoo McDaniel, Billy Jack Haynes, the Rock and Roll Express, anybody that you want to mention. The Andersons are serving notice to you right now. Back at Starrcade saw a lot of new champions, but the one thing that wasn't a surprise to anybody is the Andersons remain national tag team champions. Now then, they got a tournament for the world television title, which is my belt rightfully. It's got Arn Anderson wrote all over it. So right now I'm going to tell you, the name of this game is Pain, and Ole and Arn Anderson have no qualms about being its administrators. I'm going to win that tournament. I'm telling you right now.
So we've been listening to a lot of your old promos. Can you hear, with the benefit of hindsight and a lot of wrestling under your belt and your rearview mirror, do you hear the evolution of your promo? Are you feeling better and more proud about it as we're going through, or do you still, like a lot of guys, hear some of your old stuff and say, "Oh, I'd have done that a little differently"?
On that particular one, I feel like it felt a little more intelligent.
I liked it. I thought it was a good promo.
Thank you. And I have to go ahead and pat myself on the back a little bit. I liked it too. When you're following Ole Anderson, and he is not in awe of anybody.
That's a tough deal.
I'll just say this. When I stepped in the ring with Dusty Rhodes and some different guys, and Ric Flair is my partner, and Tully Blanchard is my partner, and Dusty was my opponent, and, different guys, top guys, I was in awe a little bit. That doesn't mean I was afraid.
Sure.
It just meant I saw their star power as well. The Road Warriors, when you step through the ropes for those guys, if you don't feel that aura around those guys, then something's the matter with you. And that's just appreciating who and what they are, which makes them bigger and stronger opponents. But following Ole Anderson, Conrad, you're like me, he cut through all the BS.
Yeah, he did.
And to try to follow him for me was, hey, don't go off on some tangent. What point are you trying to make? And I wanted to make those tag belts because we had been national tag champions for some time. When we talk about this, you don't want to leave them by the wayside, but I don't want to forget that world television title tournament either. And you try to cover all that and not demean either one. And I think we covered that in that particular promo, and things were getting better for me and more relaxed from a promo status. I was, slowing down a little bit, not trying to yell, trying to get my point across and have a complete thought. And we're getting there. We're inching our way along. That's for sure.